Have you ever stopped to ask, who was God before creation? Before the stars, before the earth, before man? Who or what was God? This question has puzzled thinkers, mystics, and believers for thousands of years. But hidden in the highlands of East Africa, in the ancient scrolls of the Ethiopian Bible, lies a unique story, one that dares to answer the unanswerable. The Ethiopian Bible is one of the oldest and most complete Bibles in the world, but it is also more than a religious book. It is a window into a time when faith, philosophy, and African wisdom came together. In this journey, we will explore ancient Ethiopian beliefs about the origin of God. We'll ask the hard questions. Was God always there? What was he doing before time began? What does the Ethiopian Bible reveal that other traditions might not? Prepare to walk through history, mystery, and spirit. This is not just a story about religion. This is about existence itself. Let's begin. Most people are familiar with the King James Bible. Some may have heard of the Dead Sea Scrolls or the Greek Septuagint, but very few know about the Ethiopian Bible. The Ethiopian Bible, written in Guizi, an ancient African language, is one of the oldest versions of the scriptures still in use today. It has 81 books, while most Western Bibles have only 66. These extra books include ancient writings like the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jubilees, and other texts that were removed from many other versions of the Bible. Why does this matter? Because many of these writings talk deeply about the spiritual world, about creation, and even about what existed before creation. In Ethiopia, faith is not just a belief system. It is woven into the very land, into history, into identity. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church, one of the oldest Christian traditions on earth, has preserved teachings passed down for thousands of years, teachings that offer a unique view on who God is and always was. And here's something powerful. While the West often focuses on God's actions after creation, the Ethiopian Bible isn't afraid to ask the deeper question, who was God before anything existed? And that's where our story really begins. Before time existed, there was no before. No ticking clocks, no sunrise, no nightfall, just eternity, unmoving, endless, and silent. Yet the Ethiopian Bible points us towards something extraordinary. It tells us that God existed in a state of perfect stillness. He wasn't floating in space because space didn't exist. He wasn't waiting for something to happen because time hadn't begun. He was simply there, complete, full, eternal. In the Book of Enoch, held sacred in Ethiopian tradition, Enoch sees God dwelling in a place of pure light. Not created light like sunlight, but eternal light. Light that always was. Light that shines from within. God didn't become. He always was. Before the angels sang, before the earth was shaped, before a single star lit up the sky, he was already there. He is not just a creator who made things. He is the reason things exist at all. In Ethiopian belief, he is እግዚአብሔር, not just a name, but a title that means the one who reveals the Lord of hosts. But here's the part that humbles the soul. Before creation, God wasn't lonely. He didn't need anything. He didn't lack anything. He was everything. He didn't need light. He was the light. He didn't need love. He was love. He didn't need time. He was eternity. This is not just beautiful. It's deeply meaningful. It reminds us that God didn't create out of weakness. He created from wholeness. So the question remains, if God had everything, why did he choose to create anything at all? Let's keep going and explore the answer. According to the Ethiopian teachings, creation was not born out of need, but out of love. God didn't create the universe because he was lacking something. He created because he wanted to share what he already was. Imagine a cup overflowing with water. It spills not because it's empty, but because it's too full. That's how Ethiopian thought describes God's creation. He overflowed with glory, light, and life. And from that fullness, the universe was born. In the Book of Jubilees, another sacred Ethiopian text, it is written that God planned everything long before it appeared. The angels, the stars, even the story of humanity. But here's what's unique. In the Ethiopian view, creation is not just physical. It is spiritual. God first created the invisible world, the world of spirit, angels, and light. Only later did he shape the material universe. So in a sense, creation was a multi-layered process. And it all began in the mind and will of a God who already existed in eternity. This shows us something beautiful. that before anything began, there was already purpose. You were not an accident. The world was not random. Everything started with a divine idea. But that leads us to an even deeper question. Who was God, really? Before the stars, before the angels, before the first breath of man? According to Ethiopian Christian tradition, God was three in one: Father, Word, and Spirit. This is not something borrowed from European Christianity. It is ancient, rooted in Ethiopian belief long before missionaries arrived. In the Kebre Nagast, Ethiopia's legendary royal chronicle, it is said that the Trinity existed from the beginning, equal in power and united in essence. The Father was the source. The Word, what we call Christ, was the expression. The Spirit was the breath of life. But all three were one being, one mystery. And this is important. Before creation, God was not just powerful, He was also personal. He had thoughts, will, emotion, identity. He wasn't just a force. He was a being. In fact, Ethiopian tradition speaks of God as having 99 names, each describing a different aspect of who He is: the Most High, the Merciful, the All-Knowing, the Eternal Flame, and so on. These names reveal a rich view of God, not distant, but near, not cold, but warm, not silent, but full of voice and vision. So when He created, it wasn't the start of His story. It was the beginning of ours. There's a teaching in Ethiopian mysticism that speaks of the great silence. It says that before creation, God was silent, not because He had nothing to say, but because there was no one yet to hear it. This silence wasn't emptiness. It was fullness, a silence so deep, so pure, it held all sound within it. Like the moment before a song begins, like the breath before a word. And then, from that silence, God spoke. Let there be light. That first word wasn't just about light in the sky. It was the moment spirit became sound. Thought became action. Eternity entered time. In many ways, the Ethiopian view sees creation as a divine conversation, a speech that started in silence and continues even now. When we listen closely, we can still hear the echo of that first voice. This is not just beautiful, it's transformational. It tells us that God has always been speaking, even before time began. And it reminds us that we, too, were created to hear. But what exactly was there to hear before the world began? What did God reveal before the first human walked the earth? The Book of Enoch, preserved in full only in the Ethiopian Bible, offers one of the most detailed glimpses into the spiritual world before creation. In this book, Enoch, a righteous man, was taken up into the heavens and shown secrets that even angels did not fully understand. He saw the throne of God, shining like fire. He saw the watchers, angels created before the world, standing in silence, worshiping the Eternal One. And he saw the place where time begins and ends. One powerful line from Enoch says, "Before anything came to be, His name was praised." That's a deep thought. It means that worship didn't begin with humans. It didn't even begin with angels. It existed before existence. Because God is worthy, whether anyone is watching or not. This vision changes how we see God. He's not just a creator. He's the beginning of beginnings, the one reality that gives meaning to all other things. The Book of Enoch also says something else, that God created out of justice and mercy. He didn't just want to create. He created for a purpose, so that goodness, truth, and beauty could be known. So before the sun, before Adam, before even time, there was already love, light, justice, and praise. And at the center of it all was God. So what does this all mean? Why should it matter who God was before creation? Because it tells us something about who we are. If God existed in unity, love, and light before anything began, and He made us in His image, then we were created from that same light. You were born out of a thought that began in eternity. The Ethiopian Bible doesn't just give us answers. It invites us to remember who we truly are. Not random beings on a spinning rock, but children of the Eternal One. The same God who lived in eternal glory before time began, now walks with us, speaks to us, cares for us. And if God was never alone, even before creation, then you are never alone either. This message offers more than comfort. It offers identity. It reminds us that faith is not just about where we're going. It's also about where we came from. And we came from God. Now let's go back to our question. Who was God before creation? He was light before there was a sun. He was love before there were hearts to feel it. He was the Word before language existed. And according to the ancient Ethiopian Bible, he was never without purpose, never without plan. In his silence, there was a song. In his stillness, there was power. And from that silence, he spoke, and the universe responded. You and I are part of that response. We are echoes of eternity. The Ethiopian Bible doesn't just tell a story, it reveals a mystery that reaches beyond religion into the heart of reality. So the next time you look up at the stars or feel the quiet of the night, remember, there was a time when there was no time. And even then, God was. So what do you think? What does this truth awaken in you? What part surprised you most? Have you ever heard of the Ethiopian Bible before? What do you believe existed before creation? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. We'd love to hear from you. If this message stirred something in you, share it. Let's keep the conversation going. And if you want more deep, spiritual journeys like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Until next time, keep searching, keep listening, and never forget where you came from.